In a major escalation of trade tensions, goods imported from China will now face a staggering 54% tariff rate, with the possibility of even higher levies in the future. The announcement, made by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, signals a significant shift in U.S. China trade policy under President Trump. Speaking on Bloomberg Television, Bessent confirmed that all imports from China would be subject to an additional 34% tariff on top of the existing 20% rate that had been imposed at the beginning of Trump's administration. This move is part of an ongoing effort by the White House to address what it perceives as unfair trade practices and economic imbalances between the two nations. While there may be room for discussions, Bessent suggested that President Trump is unlikely to alter course in the near term. It's going to be up to President Trump to see what he wants to do. I think the mindset might be to let things settle for a while, Bessent stated, adding that while there will be pressure from various sectors, immediate negotiations may not be on the table. The newly implemented tariffs bring the total rate close to the 60% threshold that Trump had previously threatened during his 2024 campaign, marking a fulfillment of one of his key economic promises. However, some estimates indicate that, when factoring in tariffs from Trump's first term and additional levies tied to fentanyl-related trade restrictions, the effective tariff rate on Chinese goods could soar to 76%. In response, China swiftly condemned the U.S. tariff hike, calling for the immediate cancellation of the new duties. The Chinese Commerce Ministry released a strongly worded statement declaring that the so-called reciprocal tariffs, based on Washington's unilateral assessments, violate international trade norms and constitute a typical act of unilateral bullying. Beijing warned that it would take resolute countermeasures to protect its economic interests, setting the stage for potential retaliatory actions that could further inflame tensions between the two global superpowers. The economic impact of these tariffs is already being felt. The United States imports nearly $500 billion worth of goods from China annually, making it one of the most significant sources of foreign products in the American market. Many major retailers, particularly big box chains that rely on China for low-cost sourcing, saw their stock prices plummet in after-hours trading following the announcement. Target shares dropped as much as 5.5%, while Walmart declined by 4.7%, reflecting investor concerns about rising costs and potential supply chain disruptions. Analysts warn that consumers will bear the brunt of these tariffs as businesses pass on higher import costs through increased prices on everyday goods. The global reaction to the tariffs has been swift and critical. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese voiced strong opposition, warning that the new duties will not only strain trade relationships, but also burden American households with higher costs. The administration's tariffs have no basis in logic, and they go against the foundation of our two nations' partnership. This is not the act of a friend, Albanese stated in a press conference in Melbourne. He further cautioned that the decision would inject more uncertainty into the global economy at a time when stability is needed most. As tensions between the United States and China continue to escalate, the world watches closely to see how this latest trade conflict will unfold. With potential retaliatory measures from China on the horizon and mounting pressure from businesses and allies, the road ahead remains uncertain. Will this aggressive tariff policy achieve its intended goal of reshaping global trade, or will it lead to further economic strain and diplomatic fallout? One thing is certain: this decision will have lasting consequences for businesses, consumers, and international relations alike. For more updates and in-depth analysis on global economic policies and their impact, stay tuned to In the Know News, where we bring you the facts you need to stay ahead.